Anyway, you could have called, well, the black people would call themselves a tight-knit group of self-supporters or something, or self-starters. The black people said whatever came to their mind, basically, or whatever sounded good. They they held this thing, how they stick together, how they help each other, and how they're so close and everything. But the truth was, basically, they would rape each other or shoot each other in the back. They had no regard for anything. Like I said, initially they came after me because my name was Lucifer White, but that had more to do with my paint than anything else. And realistically, you know, it's just a name I picked. Had nothing to do with anything. But anyway, so the black people came after me for some strange reason. But then again, they went after everyone, like I said. Even the plant and animals. Anything in space, anything that had any power at all, they went after, pretty much so. Like the Irish said, they said, don't think you're so special. They went after everyone. I was like, oh, okay, thanks. Like I said, there was peace and equality and everything else like that, and the black people got to a position or a power or whatever, and they just decided to just take over everything. And that's why they named it Black Canyon, and it was a white person slave site. Later on, the black people would say that it was a black person slave site and that they had won their freedom and all that other stuff. But then again, they said that all the time. You know, that, I mean, if you asked a black person, he would tell you that he invented the can opener and bread and all that, and sliced bread, and basically they had done all this, but it was all just a pack of lies, you know. And the black people said that they had been imprisoned and enslaved and were whipped and abused, but they never had. They actually had abused and whipped white people, and eventually, you know, like I said, they ran around saying that they had won their freedom and blah 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 and this and that, and because of a black person had finally invented something great, and they had bought themselves out of slavery and basically fought the slavers and all this and that, the white slavers. But the truth was that they had just you know, chained all the white people down and gone systematically around and enslaved everyone, and really hadn't invented anything. So, not even a stick. So, and pretty much they could just point. They really didn't have any power until they could until guns and stuff. Like I said, black people would go around saying that they were the ultimate warriors and the this and the that, and the truth is they just used steroids and basically had just had guns. They really didn't have any real power or anything else. They were just like everyone else until guns came out and stuff like that, and then they basically did this and did that, and then they started saying that they were ultimate warriors and fighters, and they had won their freedom and basically fought the good fight or whatever, and that they were that they had been tired of being abused or whatever. Anyway, the whole time they were abusing everything else and everyone else, and basically just systematically going around killing things, and basically I don't know, I mean, like I said, I wasn't even really here for most of it, you know, so. Anyway, that's why Hoover Dam is considered Black Canyon, even though it has nothing to do with black. It was actually, they actually called it Black Cannon because there's black cannons that were produced from it and stuff. It was a blackish metal. And basically it was a site where black people had gone and tortured and killed the mine supervisor and basically taken over, and then called it theirs, and then renamed it and everything else like that. And they did that to a whole bunch of other stuff. There was black this, black that. Anyway, I was known as Lucifer. I had a company called Lucifer Black Star, and the black people basically picked it up and ran with it pretty much. But but I had nothing to do with them, and they had nothing to do with me, other than the fact that they had guns and basically just saw a sign on the wall. And basically some black person had basically seen my name on the side of the Titanic and thought that he would call himself Lucifer Cesar. And he ran around saying that he had some pair of golden scissors, and he basically he'd also slice off people's tubes and stuff. But pretty much he said he invented the scissors and this and that, but he really hadn't done any of it. So, like I said, black people really didn't do anything. They worked for other people and stuff like that, and then they got guns and they ran around shooting people and enslaving them and chaining them down. And basically the world's worst oppression had basically come because of what the black people had chosen to do. And like I said, they weren't educated. They didn't see the need to go to school or to learn or to know anything. Not even language, hardly. So, like I said, they had a language all their own, and actually eventually they lost all language and just basically went, hoo, hoo. You know, and that's pretty much all they did. You know, and pretty much they didn't bother to do anything, literally. I don't know. They were in power for quite a long time, at least a couple hundred years, or a couple thousand years. And I don't know, they just let their kids do whatever they wanted and didn't really, I mean, other than as long as a black person always owned everything and, you know, no white person ever got a gun or a knife, then they were in power. And like I said, they just went, hoo! And they had a system or whatever, a language for all that. But they didn't really speak words. Literally, their vocabulary was, hoo! Or, you know, that was their language. They lost all communication with all the other races, basically. And their language consisted of a couple mouth movements and a couple other things. And so, hoo! Hoo! I don't know. I forget what hoo means. Like food or sex or something, or I don't really know. They literally didn't bother to do anything. So anyway, it was a couple hundred years ago, and eventually after, you know, they could just stab things and kill things and basically de-evolution. And pretty much the British eventually found them in the woods or whatever. Like I said, traveling in the old days was kind of hard. So black people would just stay around one little area and kind of had a couple continent controls. A little more than that. And they had some black person leading them, telling them what to do. So, and realistically, like I say, once this person came to power, he really made sure that nobody else would ever come to power ever again. Once a black person or a white person reached a certain age, they died no matter what. So, anyway, and like I said, there might have been like 1,000 or so black people that actually did have language or did have technology, but the rest of them just went, hoo! You know, and yeah, and I don't know if they pretended to be like that, but they didn't go to school, they didn't do math. You know, from the day they were born, they were basically given a pair of clothes and some really nice stuff, and pretty much, you know, was told to do whatever they wanted. So, anyway, that's basically the way it was, pretty much. And they go, I think, shit or something like that. Yeah, the British actually found out their language and deciphered it, basically, by talking to them, and because they educated them and gave them language along with the Germans. So basically, the black people had guns, and they would literally do whatever they wanted. They'd grab women and just have sex with them. They wouldn't even talk to them. Go just grab them and just start, you know, like that. You know, some people would regard them as kind of like retarded people, but the truth was they just didn't care. They didn't have to care. So, anyway, I was kind of shocked and just surprised at how they were acting and everything else. Anyway, you'd almost think that they didn't have any brains at all. But they did. They were normal people. Like, I was like, what's wrong with them? And they're like, they're normal. This is just the way they become. I was like, really? That's weird. I was like, that's strange. Anyway, yeah. They looked a little bit more apish and gorilla-like, actually, though. You know, you'd almost think that they're a more basic life form, but they weren't. They were just like humans. So, anyway, yeah. They used to call themselves guerrilla warriors and this and that and ultimate tribal this or ultimate alpha male and all this and that. And they kind of had their own little group of white people, pretty much. But, you know, it was just slave and slavery and stuff. And they whipped everyone. Anyway, like I said, I had nothing to do with them. They had their own leader and their own king and God and all that other stuff. Although, even though, you know, it's kind of funny, it was this black guy saying that he was God or their creator, but he wasn't, I was. So, like I said, I created a lot of other life forms, so I was like, you know. Anyway, though, there was a revolt, and basically, pretty much the black people couldn't take me down. They kept on trying to kill me or take me down, and they couldn't. So, because some black people, I guess, maybe realized I was their creator at some point in time. Or I was just, you know, creator of so many other life forms that was just too powerful or just too well protected. So, but they kept on attacking and attacking and attacking with vicious force.